Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willow Journals. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to be showing you in this video a tutorial of how I made this journal cover, which was a request. So it is using an envelope like this as the base. And then I put a layer of vintage music paper on top. It doesn't have to be vintage though, because you are going to be covering it with tissue paper. So this is the tissue paper I used for this one, and it takes up the color. So yeah, it doesn't matter necessarily what you put underneath, just something there to show through and give it a bit more interest. I like how this tissue paper already had the music notes on it, so it kind of blended in really well. It almost looks like these music notes were part of the tissue paper. But you could play around with all different types of papers underneath. You could do book pages with writing, or ledger paper, or Johanna Clough, she did a video where she put like paper scraps with pattern paper underneath, but she used just a blank tissue paper, which was really cool, and that actually inspired me to try putting the music paper underneath. But I'll definitely want to give the other things a go too. Scraps, book pages, do a collage underneath, and use all different types of tissue paper, because I've had this tissue paper for a while. You might recognize some of this from some journals that I made in the past, where I made some tissue paper covers only using tissue paper. And then I also want to try some with napkin. So I picked these up while I was down in Mackay at a party shop actually. Never seen these napkins before. They're really beautiful. So I thought I'd make some Paris or French themed journals with those too. But first, let me show you how I made this one, and then we'll see how far we get along. I do want to make a few covers with the other papers as well. So let's see what we've got. We have our envelope. I'm just going to close up that fold there, and then I'm going to fold this in half like so, and then time to choose some music paper. So for this I need, well, I don't need, but I want to use something quite large, so that I don't have to use too many sheets to cover it up. And I'm just looking for something large enough, but also looking at the types of notation. Like, I feel like this is going to be too busy. Anything could work. You could use any music paper, but yeah, I just feel like I just want something a bit more simple underneath. And these ones actually are ones that I've pulled out for some specific journals, some ballet journals, some fairy journals, and this is just a chance to share some of my vintage music paper. I get asked where I get it from, and the answer is op shops. So I always look out for music paper from op shops. Okay, so what I want to do is, I'm going to use this one. Oh, bless me, excuse me. Real life here. I'm just going to choose which side I want. Okay, not that it really matters. Alright, I'm going to go this side. And then that way, the whole thing can cover that outside cover. Alright, let's do this. So all I'm going to do is like fold it up, up and up. And I will be sewing it as well. Take it to my sewing machine and sew around the edges. So don't need to be too heavy-handed with the glue or too precise, because I will be adding the sewing later on anyway. So I'm just going to place that in the middle like that, and then trim off my corners. Like that. Okay, now I will fold these pieces down. Okay, so let's just fold these flaps so we have a nice beautiful edge there. And oh, that one's not very symmetrical, is it? But that's all right, it's all going to get covered in the end actually. Okay. All right, so next what I want to do is get my tissue paper and I'm just going to have a look and see which page is going to be big enough for me. So yeah, I think this one's too narrow. So then this one, I just want to see what I want on my cover. Now I do want to find my ruler. Where is my ruler? I brought it out before. My cat might be lying on top of it. Where did it go? Hang on. There it is. Found it. Okay, so I just want to make sure this is folding right. Okay. And I do want to work out which one I want to be my front and back. I'm going to put that one as my front actually. I think this, I had a quick glance at the music paper and I think it said something to do with birds. So that's why. Now I could either have the bird cage and the nest, the script and that on this page, or I could move it down and I could use this section here. And that way you get this bird cage and that bird there. Honestly, I quite like the bird cage. Now you might be screaming at me going, no, I like the other one better. I've already done two, I've already done two covers, sorry, 2 pages. I've already done 2 covers with that bird on the front, so I want to do something different and use a bird cage, just for something different. Okay, now you could use a glue stick for this part, but I am actually going to use PVA. So I'm just getting my brush ready. Okay. All right. So I don't know, I just got this craft PVA from the cheap shop. Let's just squeeze it out. Usually, sometimes I just put my paintbrush directly into the bottle. But we can squeeze this stuff out. My cat is freaking out. So I'm just going to use a brush and this PVA just to make sure every bit of the paper is covered, because it is tissue paper, so it does need a good coverage. So I'm just going to brush it all on. I mean, you could use just your glue stick if you want, no problem. I have actually done that in the past as well. So use what you have. I just want to do this just to make sure, for my own peace of mind, that every little gap is covered, because with the glue stick, even though you apply it to the whole cover, it's just depending on how much pressure you put on it or something like that, it can not get every little gap, even though it looks like it has. Okay, I'm gonna have to leave this on its side. Again, just make sure there's enough. Yes, let's leave that there on its side. Okay, so once I have my layer of PVA on here, I will put my brush down somewhere safely. Okay, so I'm just going to pick this up, if I can, and then I'm just going to put it here. I'm going to use the corners there. Now, I like having texture on the cover, so wherever it falls is where it falls, and I'm kind of intentionally keeping these crinkles here. Like it just feels nice to, and it looks good to have these crinkles. So wherever it falls, I'm going to enhance or embrace these crinkles. Yes, I'm glad that the cover has a lot. Now, sometimes you will get little tears. That is totally okay. Just pat on. And if you need to, you can, you know, rip off like a little corner here, and just for the sake of demonstration, you can add a little piece in place. Except it's stuck to my finger. Don't you love that? And it's like you can never tell. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is trim this down. Oops. And down here. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is fold those pieces over. Oh, hang on. Just want to trim these corners too. Okay. And then let's glue these pieces down. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do for the inside. And I just like getting the edge of the journal too, of the cover, like along these edges, just to make sure they're glued down too. All right, so just going to fold these up and down. And folding those corners in so that there's no gaps. All right, now I'll just apply a little glue to those overlapped areas that missed out on getting some glue. Oh, that one looks like it's okay. Okay, so now what I want to do is get some more music paper. So I got the other sheet here, and I'm just going to trim this down and place this in the middle. My cat is having a grand old time. I'm just gonna trim this down a little bit so I have the bits that I want on here. And I think I want it pretty close to the edge so that I can sew around the edges. Perfect. Okay, and then up here. All right. Here we go, guys. It's coming together. Oh, I didn't cut that far enough. That's better. All right. So you could, if you wanted, I just noticed in this one, I put down the paper on the inside first and then folded over the tissue paper. So you could do that, or you could do it this way, which I'm doing now, and just add music paper on the inside. And then you could add tissue paper over the whole thing if you wanted on the inside. I'm just going to add the music paper instead, just because I love vintage music paper as well. Get to show the vintage music paper off on the inside, the tissue paper on the outside. So there's a bit of different interest on the front and the back. And for this one, again, just using my glue stick because I will take it to my sewing machine. So all around the edges. Really nice and simple way to make a cover. And sometimes I've made covers just with the music paper, and you can leave it with just the music paper, or you could collage on top of the music paper. If you don't have tissue paper, then I'm just going to smooth this out and see if I can fold this in half as well. I'm going to let that dry. And I've just noticed I put another bit of a hole there, so I'm going to just rip off another bit of tissue paper here and stick that on top there, just for fun, because I don't actually mind that rustic look, especially for this type of vintage journal. So I'm just going to put it there. And swing it around actually. Now you can varnish or PVA over the whole cover as well if you would like. I've done that before on some of my previous covers, especially with my collage covers. I put PVA over the entire thing and it kind of gives it this nice shiny texture. Not everyone likes the shiny texture, but I really enjoyed that and would like to do that again one time. But I like it as is here as well because I want to feel the tissue paper rather than feel the PVA. But yeah, I'll have to wait for that to dry before I take it to my sewing machine. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there for that video, and then off camera in my spare time I will work on the other covers with the other types, and then I'll come back and share with you how I do that. And maybe I'll put up a process video of doing it with these other papers over on my Patreon. So hope you're doing really well. Looking forward to filling this up as well with vintage papers. Hope you have fun making your own. Check out Johanna Clough's video of her way of doing this with the scrap collage. Really, really cool, you guys. I definitely want to give that a go as well. So big thank you to Johanna for inspiring me to get out my tissue paper again. So fun to use tissue paper. It is a really fun supply to use. And again, if you don't have tissue paper, napkins work as well. So yeah, hope you're doing well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys. A big thank you to my beautiful patrons who supported me in July and allowed me to work full time on this channel for yet another month. If you would like to become a patron in August and get access to videos, printables and sneak peeks, first access to all my creations, at the Ruby tier you get every single digital kit from my Etsy plus a new one every month. There's also personal updates and behind the scenes looks, so feel free to sign up. The link is down below in the description box.